I'm no different than anyone else. I do not like excuses. But here's a really critical part of your emotional intelligence about excuses. You have to remember that what you're hearing, how it's landing on your ears, why you're calling it an excuse, is because of the meaning you attach to it. The first domino in emotion creation is how you judge, predict, name what's going on. So when someone doesn't hit a goal, when they don't do a thing, when they violate an expectation or a promise, or they behave poorly, you can influence a better outcome by using your emotional intelligence skills. There's three in particular we have to use. And the better outcome we're looking for is ownership, responsibility, and changed behaviors. So our first emotional intelligence skill is always about you. Emotional self-awareness, emotional self-management. You have to manage yourself first. So this comes back to the watching yourself like a hawk and acknowledging that if I'm getting emotional when someone is explaining why they violated an expectation or missed a goal, that's because I'm assigning meaning to it. I'm calling it something. I'm using my ego in that moment. That's all about me. So regulate first. The second thing is using empathy. When someone tells you what's been going on, you can't stop at their first answer. You have to prompt. Tell me more. What else? And what else? Is there anything other than those things that you already mentioned? You want to make sure the whole dump of what contributed to why things went awry is out, because then you're going to turn to assertiveness. And this is the kick-ass question that helps you to influence the change you want. This is what you say. Now that you've heard yourself say all of the things that contributed to why you didn't hit the goal, what did you do about each one of those things? Can you hear the ownership in that question? Can you hear that you are calling them up to responsibility in that question? Can you also sense the discomfort that's going to be created when you ask that question? You need to. Not just sense that there's going to be discomfort, you need to ask the question. And here is where leaders often get derailed. In leadership excellence, we have to straddle the line of motivation, willingness, and ability, skill set. So a lack of ability to have this kind of conversation comes from straddling this line. There are ability issues. There's lacking in skill of how to phrase questions, how to ask, how to coach, how to prompt. There are challenges and gaps of skills that need to be closed. There's also this willingness issue. I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. They're not going to like me if I make them feel uncomfortable. If I call them up, they're going to complain to HR. Like, there is all of this made up shit that stops us from the willingness to step in. When you ask this question, what did you do about all of the things that showed up that contributed to why you didn't hit the goal? Silence is your best friend. Wait for the other person. They may have some answers, like, well, when Jim didn't get me the report, I spoke to Jim, asked when he could achieve it, asked when he could get it to me, and I adjusted the timeline. But there will be a lot of things that happen that they didn't do anything about. And that's where you coach, you train, you guide, you set very clear expectations. You perhaps tell them, if they're green, what to do next time. Like, next time you can't find a file, next time you can't find information, next time you can't get Jim to get you what you need, come and talk to me. I'm your person. Let me know what's going on. I could be your resource and I can be of assistance. But what you cannot do is let the timeline be hit and missed without talking to me. Be very clear. You want to solve the underlying problem. You want ownership, responsibility, and a change in behaviors. And you can only get that if you create the discomfort of responsibility.